What up, people? It's your boy Master Chudy out here with another comic review. So we got Harley #1, and I read this a couple of days ago. Just wanted to just wanted to let the story digest in my mind a bit. And as I was reading this book, I really thought that this is exactly how Harley Quinn is supposed to be written. She's not some female Deadpool. She's not this bombastic, oh my gosh, over the top caricature of another character, which was Arlene Sorkin's Harley Quinn, the OG voice. But she has more depth to her than just being this how should I say, wannabe psychopath. Even though she's kind of like that, she's a psychopath, but how she's depicted is very much watered down. They want to give her like superpowers and whatnot. No, she works better when it's just clearly her and the Joker, cut out Poison Ivy and everything like that, and you see what she truly is. And this is a very, sympathetic start to what is a fantastic book. But let's get into it. So, Harleen, Stefan, oh goodness, I know this is a very European name. So, Stefan Sejic, that's what I'm going to say. He does the story and the art, so kind of like a Sean Gordon Murphy type. I'm not saying nothing the same. And he also does the cover and the variant, so he went all out on this book. Literally, the only person who did work is Gabrielle Dowdy on the letters, so we got to credit her too for doing a good job in this book. So we see that basically from the way that the story goes is that Harley, this is Harley now, not Harleen at the moment, who is pretty much narrating the beginning of how she came to be what she was. We see her having nightmares. We see her that she thought that she could see like the Batman tormenting her. But she says that the monster is different, that it's not the Joker, and that she wants to protect the Joker. And she protects him because she's my patient. Then we see that the Bat monster, which is clearly Batman, is telling her to cast him away. He's beyond help, and she's like, "No, I can reform him." And she's like, "Okay, be it on your hands then, Doctor." So we see that Batman leaves, and we see that the Joker in her mind is like, "Why didn't you run?" And it's like, "I'm not, because I'm your doctor and I'm here to help." And we just see them laughing. And that's how her mind pretty much breaks, and she becomes what she is. And now the art is very different, and because Mr. Sejic, because I can't pronounce the first name. Basically, the European style art kind of works in this one. The Joker looks like the Joker, and he looks more. While he looks good, you could see like the demonic aura that comes from this work, and we see her in her classic Harley uniform, which we don't see enough really. So we get back to this thing that talking to a patient that basically she's talking to this cop. They're talking about basically something roach war and everything like that, and this guy is talking about basically I have problems. I think he's a war veteran with a PTSD, and Harley's like Quinzel, Dr. Quinzel, call me that. So that was 2 years later. So two years ago. So she talks about her patient. Mr. Morris failed to mention that the hospital he opened fire on also housed 24 children. There are no survivors. He's basically at the educational symposium talking about criminal psychology in Gotham City. These were the words that Mr. Morris's basically, yeah, this is basically a PTSD, and that he opened fire, and that his commanding officer was like, "Look, it's not a courtesy to show humanity to your opponent because he might kill you." So she's like saying these words of Mr. Morris's superior officer who this day defends his subordinate's actions. These words speak to the heart of the problem and the core of my hypothesis. So we see that Harley Quinn, as we even see before, even I want to say more so than what we saw in her Mad Love episode, or it's not what it's called, but the episode where we delve into her past, where she kind of gets fed up with the Joker. Is that she was clearly a psychiatrist for the criminally insane. Of course, she was shown as a very intelligent woman before she broke, but this one even delves the home more that she was very, very sharp in the mind, that she was very, very intelligent, that she knows her field, and that she's looking actually for good intentions. She's looking for a way to help the criminally insane and rehabilitate them. In a different world and a different path, she might have been partners with Bruce Wayne or the Batman, but that didn't work out. So she's like a fight or flight response has all been studied and its underlying process mapped. It is an instinctive reaction that overrides regular brain chemistry. Pretty much talking about that. The war zone, this state is hyper arousal, can save lives. This instinct is a greater mechanism. It's a kind of a mental immune system designed to protect us from imminent threat by managing body chemistry in a way that maximizes our chance of survival. But is this pretty much mechanism overused? Is the flight or flight? It's the fight or flight mechanism overused, which causes people to do terrible things. It's not hard to imagine this hostile environment where soldiers spend years, and under those conditions, I propose this mental immune system can break. We are talking about the autoimmune system of the mind, a systemic failure of a finely tuned process in which the brain uses hormonal stimuli to ensure one's survival, similar to the autoimmune diseases of what is meant to protect us from within. She pretty much puts it bluntly. To put it bluntly, it's like the result of permanent deterioration of empathy, which might lead to developing antisocial behaviors. And of course, such identifying autoimmune system is unlikely. However, we need to look further for a war zone than the streets of Gotham City itself. So, I think she's kind of breaking because, by the way, this is Lucius Fox kind of checking his watch, and I think that breaks her concentration. And she's like, statistics shows that recidivism strongly indicate that there's a large issue not only with petty criminals relapsing into a life of crime, but also increasing severity of those crimes. And so she's kind of breaking, but she says that she probably has a way to identify sociopath in the making, and that pretty much whatever is happening is going to cause that. And she feels like she messed up. So she's at the bar with her friend Chandra, and she's like saying it's like my career has imploded. And she's like, I'm serious, I wasn't even half done, and they were already checking their watches. And she's like, let me get to use we went all big words with them. And she's like, it's a scientific symposium, and that's pretty much the point. It's like, Harley, they are money people. You bring the whole puppet show if needed. This is stab me Elmo, and he needs serious therapy. And she's like, I'm not in the mood for it. It's like, right, I say you've had enough of this. I'm not drunk, I'm miserable. And she's like saying, just let's go. I want to forget about this day, sleep through the weekend, and maybe look through some job applications on Monday. It's like, so about you, how did your thing go? It's like, Harley, it's like, I'm proposing pharmaceutical solutions to treat forms of depression. There's money in that. My presentation went flawless. It's like, and wow, they used to call me cynical. It's like, I seem to remember people calling you much worse than that. Low bro, son, just like, whatever. What I'm saying is that if you want the research cash, you learn how to play the money crowd, which is true. The way I see it, rich folks have a long lines of zeros in their bank accounts and short attention spans. So the first thing you gotta do is make them see how your theory will make money. It's like, point is, I'm trying to make is you're a well-meaning person with good intentions. Probably there's two things I usually pay with good intentions: roads to hell and the unemployment line. Real talk. Yeah, it's like, yeah, so you keep telling me. It's like, okay, well, maybe try listening for a change. Anyhow, it's like, things will turn for the better. It's in your horoscope, And she's like, I'm a doctor, I don't believe in magical stars. But magical stars believe in you. Wow, I might actually peak right now. It's like, whatever, it's going to be a great week for cancer. It's going to be a great week for cancer. And of course, they joke, but she had friends. Despite, being a little bit insecure, she had friends. And, we see Harley still answering for a physician. Sandra was uncharacteristically superstitious. Nevertheless, her little pep talk made me smile. It was a comforting thought that stars watching over me. I was a 30-year-old psychiatrist, single, one friend, no pets. My family was 6 states away. I liked the idea of stars having my back. So she's quite a young single woman trying to do her thing. And she pretty much walks, and boom, we see a robbery in progress, and then boom, she meets the Joker. It's like not even the devil himself comes out to greet you. See? Now, we see the Joker with his crew, looking badass. I'll say this is a great opening right here. She's saying, what did I tell you, boys? When buying weapons, there's no beating personal quality control. Wrap it up to go. So, yeah, they rob a weapons depot, and she gets caught. And she's like, talking about destiny, star-crossed. And this is where she kind of first meets him. And, she thinks that, oh, my gosh, it's like, this is basically, she feels like she's going to die right now. So we see that it goes through her life, pretty much going through like this, saying, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" She first wants to be a teacher, then a singer, then she doesn't know. She doesn't know. Maybe, I mean, actually, I kind of like listening to my friends' problems. Maybe I want to be a shrink. It's like, I mean, I don't get how you're still single at 19 because guys my age are immature. You're into older guys? It's like, so Chandra was her friend since college. And then we just see Mr. Quinzel, and we see that she kind of hits on her professor. That kind of goes wrong because they think that she's an older dude, and that she's hired. I'll be damned, Harley. It's like, I guess your particular set of skills got you this far. So apparently, one of the people who used to bug her in college works at her place as well. So she doesn't think. So the Joker doesn't even shoot her. She just says, "We got some gifts." It's like, "Let's go, boys. We got some gifts to wrap, and I know, and you know how I love the smell of a new gun, basically." So they drive away, and she kind of is shell shocked. And then his dude is like, "Hey, boss, how come you let her live?" It's like, "Because her eyes made me a promise, Sam. A promise." It's like, "Yes, they promised to see me every night in her dreams." And you're like, "Wow, I never took you as a romantic." I love this banter. This is probably one of my favorite parts in it because yes, the Joker is crazy, and yes, he's unpredictable, but at the same time, he's a criminal. He's got boys, and he can talk up a good banter. Not everything is needs to be psychoanalyzed with the Joker. He can have some. He can talk. Let's just say that. So the Batman comes. He kind of puts some smoke bombs, does the usual thing. Joker executes his dude because he's dead weight. Yada yada yada. Batmobile comes. And we just see, the Batwing, I think this is the Batwing. And he's like, "Apologies, Bats. I had some company restructuring to do, but now you have my full attention. How many ancestors said drop the weapons?" Just like that? Seriously? When does it ever work for you? I mean, you got the mean bat plane thing. What's it going to be? You're going to open fire on us? Going to start killing? Point I'm making is we got our carrot. So where's the stick? It's more of a bat, really. So Batman comes in. Harley's watching and she's just still there because the Joker, basically shell shocked her. But the cops come, and she's like saying, You need to calm down." It's like, "Can you walk?" It's like, "Yeah, good. I need you to keep your head down and follow us." "Can you do that?" "Follow where?" It's like, we gotta get the f out of here. We're going to the subway entrance for cover." And she's like, "Where's the backup?" It's like, we are the backup, basically. So they go, and Batman does his thing, starts beating up on his criminals, doing Batman's thing, and Joker's like, "Another good one." It's like, "Fine, what do I want then? I had every intention of painting the town red tonight. Might as well do it with your blood." And she still can't move. And Batman just beats the Joker right into a wall right next to her. She's still shocked. He does the kind of a scorpion get over here kind of thing, puts it back, brings out a knife, and this is a fantastic shot right here. Batman versus the Joker. And she's like, "There are no more gunshots, it's silence, everything's in anticipation." And this seems quite long. This is quite a long book. So the shadows that you can see, basically like in a film or a TV show, the way that Mr. Sedgwick kind of draws it is very fantastic. Like it's very well done. It's great. And the fight scenes are pretty much good. She pretty much watches this fight when she's like watching it like two animalistic forces battling each other out. She can't like look away and they don't pay attention to her. She knows that, in fact, they don't care about her because their work is done and they run. So I believe she follows, and then she comes to like a fountain, and then it's like, "We come to watch, we come to cheer, we come to feast." She pretty much, she even pretty much enjoys seeing the Joker getting beat for a second. And she says, she even says it herself, like, "Wow, I was held at gunpoint, and now I feel this righteous indignation that calls for blood. For a second, I want to cheer as well. After all, he is the Joker, a murderer." It's like, but I'm snapped out of by a thought. I'm drowned out by the sound, the cheering, by the fists connecting. Instead of sickening crunches, the sound of his punches made were. She felt that now she starts feeling his pain, apparently. And she starts having nightmares. And just like the Joker said, yeah, she wakes up after everything. 3 days pass, and I'm left with memories and dreams, terrible dreams, stressful dreams. And so she goes back to her job and decides to keep the events of that fateful night to herself. And, she goes back. See, See, my life would she said, well, she basically goes back. She tries not to attract attention because of what had happened to her in college. See, I had a fling with this professor back in my college days. Some people found out about it. It was one of those things that tend to stick with you, tend to define you in the eyes of someone. Didn't help that that two of the people working at the center had gone to school with me. Suffice it to say, words got around and I gained, let's say, call it a reputation. And, this chick is angry, saying, like, okay, who did you, smash to get it? And she's like, huh? It's like, you know what? After my weekend, I've got zero patience for your bullshit, Pauline. Why don't give me that crap? How did you do it? Did you, from the finance board? And, apparently Harley's got a promotion. It's like, Quinzel, Dr. Matthews' office now. So she's pissed. Dr. Matthews? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know there was someone else here. I'll wait outside. Oh, no, Quinzel. We've been waiting for you. So this is Lucius Fox, pretty much. It's like, Harleen, please, I remember you were at my presentation and then you left. Good memory. I'm good with faces. Plus, I tend to remember people leaving my panel when I was trying to present my life's work, all 28 of them. I'm sorry, rambling. I do that when I get nervous. Am I fired? And she's like, what? It's like, well, I'm here. I'm assuming he's here to complain about me boring him or something, and I've never really had a very strong foot to stand on in the institute, so. And the chick, and they're just laughing because like, oh my god, Mr. Fox, please, like. And so Lucius is like, because Lucius comes from the stock of Bruce Wayne, they always look for everything. It's like they always look for the bigger picture, and Lucius Fox does a good job, stating that. It's like, first of all, I wasn't bored by your pitch. I simply heard enough to understand its potential. That being said, allow me to introduce myself, Lucius Fox. Among other things, I'm the chief scientific advisor to the Wayne Foundation, and I'm here to tell you we are interested in funding your research. And she's like, whoa. It's like, why? It's like, I mean, yes, thank you. And she's trying to remember her friend at times. Her friend saying that, work the money, people. It's like, also, sorry for saying you were bored. I may have a bit of fear of success, so I tend to self-sabotage at times. And she's like, and here's that rambling again. And he's like, have you ever considered seeing a therapist for that? I do, every morning when I brush my teeth. Hey, so, the research grant. Interested? And she's like, of course. Very interesting. She just remembers the advice her friend gave her. It's like, excellent, I'll get the paperwork started on our end. Oh, and hey, if it all works out, we are more likely to go end up with some pharmaceutical ways of treating this condition. I'm sure Mr. Wayne will recognize the potential and profit of that. And Lucius Fox is like, it's like Lucius Fox is like, Mr. Quinzel, Mr. Wayne is not doing this for any cynical reasons, because of course it's Bruce Wayne. Because Bruce Wayne is not the typical rich dude. As she and her probably didn't know, and she's angry, saying, I thought I'm going to kill you. It's like, I didn't mean to imply that. It's more that I'm struggling to figure out why someone like Mr. Wayne would invest in well. And, he explains Mr. Wayne has a personal history of crime in the city. He would look for any plausible way to reduce it. I, for one, consider your theory plausible enough to merit the requested funds. It helps that your proposed research budget is exceedingly modest. I mean, yeah, the only real cost will be second phase with brain activity neuroimaging, and even before that is the interview work. Which means, oh god, I have to find out how to actually get access to Arkham, Blackgate, and the Gotham police. And then Lucius Fox is like, relax, Doctor. Arkham shouldn't be a problem. Mr. Wayne has funded its repairs and security, so they owe us. Same goes for the Gotham PD. We can make some calls. And meanwhile, I'll ask for permits for accessing Blackgate, preferably without the DA's office hearing about it. Ever since my expert witness testimony on the Enigma case, Dent has been on a warpath against the center. She's like, well, I suppose it's settled. Good luck, Doctor. Pleasure meeting you. And she's like, likewise. And so pretty much her boss says I'll get in contact with Hugo Strange to set up dates. I don't think Strange will be overly enthusiastic about Wayne pushing a staff member on him. The least I could do is grease the wheels by vouching for you. And now she says, thank you. And I was like, I think that'll be all, Quinzel. And, Harley's like saying thank you because, people around here don't usually give me a second chance here. And, they bring up her relationship with the professor she had. It's like, yeah. And she pretty much states out flat, it's like, you also score top grades with Professor Chance and Phillips, one of whom is a crotchety old woman, old enough to have made my own college career living hell. You don't pass her class without putting in the work. Everyone has a past, Harleen, and you should know helping people get over theirs isn't our job description. And she's like, yeah, thank you. So she got a win, which is good. You want to you the way that Cedric is writing her, you empathize with her and you want her to get a win, and she gets a win, and she flips off Pauline. Yeah, I would flip off Pauline too. It's like, and there it was. One thing went right for me, and one person had my back, and I felt like $1,000,000. He sure did. And so Pauline is still angry, but Harleen is like happy. It's like it took 2 weeks for my transfer to be cleared, and you know what? I had no problem with that. After all, I had earned my moment of glory, and you had better believe I was going to enjoy it. And that wasn't the only improvement. My previously shit your man's nightmares, they subsided. Basically, she was sleeping better, she was feeling better because she was hyped. But of course, at Arkham, we see that basically we see the foreshadowing of what she will become. She said, like, I thought I was leaving all the BS behind and I was walking to a bright future. I guess there is something to be said about walking toward the light. You tend not to notice the shape of your own shadow. I knew nothing of my future staring at the light. I cared little about the shadows. All I knew is that I finally made it. So here she is at Arkham. And so basically, she gets to Arkham, gives her ID, do everything like that. We just see her meet Tim Bronson, and she's the security chief here. Tim Bronson, I don't know if that's supposed to be lockup from like the Batman the animated series, the guy who wanted to ensure that all criminals were kept and he kind of went crazy. That's neither here nor there. So after talking to security, this is going to be a long video. We see that the Joker comes in with his crew. He had recently he's been caught again by the Batman, and he's back home. She tries to avoid the Joker because she thinks that he'll obviously recognize her. Come to think of it, you sure do keep bringing me back here over and over again. Still nothing, huh? I prefer the old security staff. They had a sense of humor. What happened to them? Your escape happened. So this one is on me. Then, let's see. So this one's on me. Then, well, now I feel like a complete jackass. It's like, take him away. Whatever if I said I was sorry? So he obviously recognized her. Sorry about that, Doc. No, it's fine. He's a bit intense the first time we meet him, but you'll shake it off fast. And she's like, I don't know about that. So the Joker gets in for processing again. She smiles. It's like, turns out Arkham was no place for smiles. Pretty much, and she wants to be called Harley. Like, okay. So you're going to meet Hugo Strange. She meets Hugo Strange, like Dr. Quinzel. Oh, for crying out loud. Arkham is a place of healing, and I very much intend to keep it. So, you are here because the institution owes Mr. Wayne a great deal, and because I respect Dr. Matthews. But this is where my goodwill ends. I've looked at your research papers. Your first stage is interviews, standard therapy procedures, correct? Yes. That's fine. So, you are searching for what exactly? I'm looking for ideal candidates for the first round of brain mapping to pinpoint the heart of madness, locate the spots of brain activity through, yes, hook them up to machinery, ask them more questions, hope things go beep, and you get a condition named after you. That's not what I'm trying to say, Dr. Quinzel. Listen, in all honesty, I think yours is just one of many crackpot theories I've seen young idealistic psychiatrists bring to the table looking for hows and whys of our residents. The idealism doesn't last long in Arkham, and I'm thinking yours won't either. But here is all I require of you. Don't stir the pot, don't agitate the patients, and you are free to do your business. And she's like, right, thank you. Oh, and I need access to previous interviews done with inmates on the list. Patients. Sorry. Yes, sorry. The file room will have those. It's like, oh, and doctor, welcome to Arkham. He said welcome to Arkham, but let's be honest, this was Arkham. A small windowless office with a misspelled name is as good as a gotcha. She's like, really, bruh? So she gets ready. It's like, okay, I was okay with that. Beats a cubicle, and anyway, I hadn't gone there for comfort. I had a job to do. Of course. I came to Arkham with a list in hand, a very specific list. It comprised people who would be perfect examples of the absolute deterioration of empathy. I had a similar list for Blackgate, prison, but as I wasn't allowed there at the moment, well, you know how it goes. You play the cards you have, not the cards you want. What a deck it was. Every psychologist's dream, the stuff that careers are built on. So she sees Mr. Freeze, the Riddler, and of course the Joker. And she's like, "Nah, we ain't gonna touch you yet." I wasn't ready to deal with him, but that was fine. I had more than enough antisocial personality disorders to go through. The way I saw it, by the time I was done with them, my nightmares would have gone away, and he would shrink in the eyes of this. Well, you get it. And you know what? At first, it seemed to be the case. I mean, he was intense in personality, but let's be honest, they all were. So she meets with Victor Says, you know, she meets with Victor Says, she meets with Ivy. You know, she says, "Oh yes, every Scar's a story. You know, he cuts everyone. Every kill he's made, he makes a cut, basically." And she's just working. She talks with Poison Ivy when I ask about my empathy. I can literally feel nature dying, and you have the nerve to ask me about empathies, and so she's kind of freaked out. It's like, let me see the Riddler. She talks to the Riddler. She talks to Killer Croc. She talks to the Mad Hatter. And she thought that her sleep had improved, but the nightmares are still coming. And she feels like she's losing sleep, and so the security guard is trying to empathize with her now. It's like, "Damn, dog, you look tired. How's the job treating you?" "Fine. I get by 2 cups of coffee at a time." "How many a day?" It's like, "I'd rather not tell." "Yeah, this place is a way of draining the life out of you. We all need our vents and pick-me-ups. So what's yours?" It's like, "Darts and whiskey." "Or just a pick-me-up." It's like, "Damned if I know. Just hang in there, doc. It gets better, or you get numb." It's like, and on that cheerful note, I'm off to the archives again. "By the way, you won the coffee machine on the second floor, trust me. Much stronger." So, nice. So talking to another criminal, she's having a dream of the same psychiatrist, but then the Joker comes up and scares her. She's sleeping in her office. It's like, for more than 3 weeks, I've been avoiding him. For almost a month, he invaded my dreams. It's like, and that day I knew there's no escape from it. So she's like, "You know what? F it. I'm going to do it." So she decides to go through and look through all of the Joker. And we see that my family, it's really a sad story. It's like, she's like putting on the tape. At first she felt underwhelmed. It's like, "My family's a sad story, really victim to the fire down in the docks. I guess my real family was the circus that gave me a roof on my head." "And is that why you adopted the clown image?" "Clown? I was the strong man." But of course, this is how he plays people, because he has various different stories, as we remember from the animated series. So it's like, this was wrong. Whenever I saw him that night, it wasn't there in these tapes. There wasn't this grinning man with a cold voice that held me at gunpoint. Found myself questioning memories, but then I started watching and I started noticing it. "So, Joe, how'd you come to craft this persona of the Joker?" "Just gonna jump right into that one. My previous drinks would usually butter me up before going there, but you're a go-getter. I like that. You see, I was a city orphan, one of many spewed out of of Gotham's dark alleys. In a way, I was adopted by the mob's hitman, Johnny Stitches Dinetto. I started as his eyes on the street and graduated to being his cleanup assistant on hits. Then one day, he gets into some bad dealings and the bosses want to take him out. Take us both out. It's like, so my one only chance to survive was for me to get good with the bosses. Survive the finish, He never saw me coming. So the bosses asked me, "Well, kid, is it done?" And I'm trying to sound smooth. So I go, "Ask Sal the mortician. I left old Johnny Stitches and Stitches." And the bosses went, "What you do, make him laugh? Get a load of this Joker." And it stuck. So one video after another, she realizes that he's lying every single time, the stories and everything like that. And one of those tapes remained silent and still so long that I thought the video was broken. And then there it was, he was sleeping. But she realized that it's all an act, that he says these stories for his amusement. And that it says this story for his amusement, that he always changes his origins. But then she finds one movie, and we see this guy, Joker's getting sentenced. Of course, he's going back to Arkham, and he throws a bottle at him, saying, "Give him the chair, kill that monster." And then that's when she sees the real Joker's face, like, "A monster, eh? We're all monsters in a civilized cage. It just takes the right kind of pain and fear to break the lock. Seems you're almost there, buddy. Just give those bars a good push outside of your cage. It's my Gotham, and it's the city of monsters. It's an honest place." So the man on the street, his tone was voice and glass. It was shouting like the one that she heard. And so she realizes that after everything she had to interview to, more than ever, I knew this, and more than ever she feared it because, she's afraid of the Joker. And then, she's just walking. She tries to talk to her friend Chandra, mostly because she had the access to the strongest kind of pharmaceuticals. Although before you do that, I read this book about crystals. No crystals, no dream catchers, no rosaries, no lucky clovers, pills, Chandra, voice tranquilizers, elephant downers, something that will knock the hell out of me. For 8 hours of sleep. So she's not sleeping. Unfortunately, the pills didn't work. I started my own research. She tried not eating spicy foods. She tried everything, milk, honey, everything. She tried chiropractic. She tried drinking. She said it worked, not help. But then, of course, she gets a call from Harvey Dent. And, he's like, please call me Harvey. It's like, sorry. I'm like, don't worry. I'm in no rush today. It's one of those rare days when I have the time to lean back and admire the beauty of her. It's like, Gotham. I like to come here sometimes early, before anyone else is around. She's a beautiful city in the morning, don't you think? Sunlight disperses the shadows from the rooftops, and she's just beautiful. And Harley's like, let's get to the point. Dent is like, I want you to refuse the Wayne grant. And she's like, what? I'd also like you to end your research. And she's like, what? Harvey's like, Bruce Wayne, he's a good man. His whole life, he's donated to causes like yours, desperately trying to understand why behind the mindless violence that befell his family. And she's like, I fail to see what that has to do with my research. And he's like, hold on, I'm getting there. Bruce pretty much imagines that criminals can be fixed, and I assume that you share his same view. But Harvey's like, I'm more practical, and I'm more pessimistic because I've dealt with them too long. I've been 15 years as a prosecutor, so I've witnessed the depths of humanity. And never again, pretty much. There's too much fear. And Harley's like, look, Mr. Dent, I'm sure this little speech will go, before this little speech goes about longer, but since I spend most of my time these days listening to these self-aggrandizing ideologies of the patients at Arkham, I'd rather not do it here as well. And she's like, get to the point. Fine. While your boss tried to slip it under the radar, one of your coworkers, it's like, one of the coworkers anonymously called my office and informed us about your research. Oh, I have a decent idea of who that might be, but do go on. It's like, and we have come to see your work for what it is, a threat. And so Dent is like, it's a threat to the notion of law and order, that you want to help these people so that they can break out. It's pretty much going to cause recidivism. We have to keep them locked up for the sake of the city. Pretty much like that. It's like, nobody wants to listen to their sob story about how they lost their ability to feel or empathy. And she's like, if my theory is proven correct, big if. Okay, listen, Mr. Dent, I'm well aware that it will make prosecuting people a more nuanced business, yes, but it will result in a significantly greater rehabilitation percentage. It is better than progressively longer incarcerations that only end up making these people find their only sense of community among other criminals. And so it's like, okay. So Dent is like, you see this double-headed coin, heads on both sides. It was given to me by a mother whose daughter was killed by a paroled criminal. You said, you take this, Mr. Dent. Keep it as a reminder. These monsters will try to convince you that they changed their ways, that there's a good side to them, but they're like this coin. They may spin, they may fly, but when they land, they'll only be more of the same. It's like, see, I bet that story works real well at your election fundraisers. It's punchy. It's got a nice little gimmick with the double-headed coin. But here's the thing with double-headed coins. They're not real coins. Just like your little metaphor, they're fancy but BS made to deceive. Go get yourself a regular coin, Mr. Dent. It may make you see the world differently. Oh, and I'm not backing off. In fact, I'm just getting started. Now, that was good dialogue. But of course, we see that in the future, they'll probably be they're obviously going to be doing crimes together, maybe have a little bit of partnerships together, though they usually don't. And there we go. So it's kind of funny. All of our big words are moralizing, and yet within 5 months, we would both become murderers. So very short time frame. That day, however, while not quite murderous, I did ever so briefly entertain some violent fantasies featuring the esteemed Mr. Dent. It was a smug tone which he simply demanded I abandon my work. It infuriated me in ways I never thought possible. It's like, he's down the hall. You can't miss it. We keep him separated from the rest. He's got a tendency to start-ish. So she gets ready to pretty much go in. It's been a month. She feels like she wouldn't remember him, but there the Joker is waiting. It's like, she says, like, I can't really see you all the way in the dark. Come a bit closer. I won't bite. I might, but reinforced glass and all. It's like, I am Dr. Harleen Quinzel. I've been assigned to your case. And he's like, funny thing about getting slammed into a wall repeatedly, does a number on your memory. Then again, electroshock therapy probably hasn't done much help with either. It's like, I mean, what I mean is, you look like someone I've met, but not entirely. It's like something is missing, like bam, just shakes it. And then he sees the fear. It's like, there you are. I knew you seemed familiar, just lacking that terror in your eyes. The streets that night. I let you off with a warning, yet here you are again. And a shrink of all things. Life is funny, so I'm sure it's funny sometimes. And she's like, are you done? It's like, you tell me. That's why you're here after all, to pick through my brain, make sense of my stories. Like, right. The stories I've read them up. I read upon them, and as it turns out, all at the same time, you were a rich mobster, thrown in a vat of acid, a failed comedian, abused by your father, brother, mother, and brother, and a matron of an orphanage that doubled as a sweatshop producing golf balls. So, I was always proud of that one. Dr. Wilkins actually believed it. But you see, now you ruined it. I could have told you stories like that as well. It's like lies. It's like perhaps, but interesting lies. Truth is so boring, dry, factual. This is the soul of things. Truth is a low grade artist always on the brink of capturing the essence of their motto but internally failing. I prefer the lies, illusions, a bit of makeup, and a whole lot of theatricality. Stories, then. Monster stories? I'm interested in those. You're in the right place. Very well, Mr. Joker. How about you tell me a story of Gotham, City of Monsters? Please, Doctor. Call me Jay. And then she thought, because she's like, pretty much like this. I remember thinking I can control the situation. It was neither the first or the last time I was wrong about that. Very well, Mr. J. And that's the end of chapter one. Well, let me get back at it. Womp, womp, womp. So this is probably one of the longest reviews I've done because I've more or less narrated the story, but this was a fantastic issue. This is what Harley Quinn is. I think people really forget that with Harley Quinn's first book, well, with her current run of Harley Quinn and then her time in the Suicide Squad and then her kind of, whimsical hijinks that she has, we forget that she is a more complex character. And this is the way to bring back a character that was very popular from the animated series because of her nuance, bring back said nuance in her way through this book. It's important that people remember that Harley is not simply a gimmick, and she's not meant to be used as a gimmick. She is, in fact, a complex character. The reason why people liked her was because of this, complexity that she has. Her relationship with the Joker, not because she was breaking any type of fourth walls like Deadpool, not because of her thing with Poison Ivy, which is weak, in my opinion, but because, she was a good person with good intentions who, is always looking for her shot. Initially, she thought that she could handle the big things. She was very ambitious, but her ambition caused her to fall from grace into the Joker's arms, and that's how we get Harley Quinn. So I give this a good 9 out of 10. It's a fantastic book. I highly recommend. So thank y'all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notifications. Make sure you're notified. Once again, I do these reviews for you, the people. Someone discuss good comments and get your views on them. Thank y'all for watching. I should have to have more videos up when I can. Peace. Ooh, 38 minutes. Oh gosh, 38 minutes. I hope people watch this. Peace.